Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kai, and welcome back to Warframe. Today, I thought I would show off a little bit of a loadout build in my daily driver Equinox build. If you've seen any previous videos on my channel, which I recommend, you would know that my main is Equinox. I absolutely love her. She is my favorite frame, but I thought that with the popularity of Equinox Terrify builds going around lately, that I would show you guys my version of that, as it is what I have been using as my main build on her, even though I use Gloom or Pillage sometimes. So let me hop into the sim and show you guys why this build is so popular and so very strong right now. All right, now that we are here in the sim, I am going to just hop right into the build. This is a bit of an end game setup, so I'm not going to go over Equinox's abilities or, what these weapons do or whatever. I expect if you're watching this to know that. If you are new to Equinox or whatever, though, please do watch and see why this build is so great and everyone is using it everywhere. But let's just get right into it and take a peek at the build right now. So just to start off, there are a lot of nuances and a lot of math had to be done to make sure that this build would work. Trust me that there are many ways to achieve this, but I have named that this is the best way. So let's just get the first thing out of here. Terrify. Terrify is probably one of the best armor stripping abilities in the entire game right now. A really high range paired with the fact that you only need 167 power strength to fully strip enemies, and paired with the augment gives them 80% slow, is really good, because it means that you can kind of use anything at higher levels. The range is so good. It affects 27 enemies at only 139, but we go up to 167 through a little bit of other methods. And the fact that it slows them down too. This is all around a great ability and really helps with what I would say is Equinox's best ability, Maim. Maim, you guys all know what Maim does. It's one of the best abilities in the game. You have this huge aura, 47 meters in my case at 265% range. And in that area, as you damage things, you build up a charge, and then you recast this ability. Just press your fourth ability key again, and you send it all out. Now, this does slash damage. It's not slash status or anything, so it really struggles with armor. It has a ridiculous range and takes away all armor. Terrify. These two abilities allow Maim to be the most effective nuker in the entire game. Better than Saren, better than Volt, better than anybody, because it just kills instantly, in my opinion. Those other frames, you don't need to do damage with your weapons to get the nukes, but this is just a much better. This is just the best nuke in the entire game, in my opinion. These two abilities. The other two abilities here, Rage, while not used very often, it's still very good. We at 167 strength, we get up to around an 80% damage vulnerability increase. So just times any damage you do to any enemies by 1.8. And then there you go. You just, it just gives you more damage. This affects acolytes, it affects higher health targets or whatever, so it's useful for those. But you'll use this the least. Provoke here is very necessary. So, Terrify needs 167% power strength. At 139, you'll see that this reads off as giving you plus 27, which would give us 166% power strength. But for some reason, this game does not like to show percentages. This actually gives you 27.8%, which rounds up to be 28. I'll come out of here and I'll show you. Top right, we get 28%. So, come back in. 139 plus 28 is exactly 167, which is exactly how much we need to strip. Looking at the other stats, range of 265. See, the only range mod that we don't have on this build is Cutting Drift. That's because we needed the power strength from Power Drift to be able to hit this right here. So we couldn't use this. But that extra 15% range, if I drop Power Drift and throw this in here, brings us from 47 and where's the range? 39 to 42 and 50. So effectively 42 meters of nuke range. Not that big a difference. You really won't notice it, which is why we use Power Drift. Duration and efficiency. These are the stats that you have to mod around the most, because Equinox Maim drains a lot of energy. 1.4 is not small, and it's really, really noticeable if you don't have things like Arcane Energize. I don't even have a max rank one. But how do we get this to be the lowest possible drain? Because if you didn't know, at 190 efficiency, which would be fleeting expertise plus streamline, yes, if you go above 175 but have negative duration, it does, the extra efficiency will substitute for that. On Equinox specifically, you only need 40% duration to have the lowest possible drains on these two abilities if you have 190 efficiency, which is fleeting and streamline. But we can't do that. Why can't we do that? Because this is a shield gating build. Now, I know that shield gating is not the most popular survivability tool, but this is just how it is. Brief Respite with 3 Augur mods. I only have 1 in this build. The other 2 that I get are on my Epitaph. I'm using Seeker and Pact. Oops. This gives us, in total, the 150 from here, and then the 120 from here, which is 270% of our energy is spent on abilities, gets converted to shields, which gives us total a 81% shield, or 81 shields on a single Terrify cast. That is enough if we use a Decaying Dragon Key to fully reset our shield gate. So you need 1 Augur mod on your build and 2 on your pistol to get yourself that 81% shields. You can't do 2, you have to do 3, so you go above 75. This is the survivability of this. It means you'll practically never die, and you can just cast Terrify whenever you want, fully reset your shield gate, become invulnerable for a couple seconds if that goes down. Now, the next big thing about this build is that with 160 efficiency and what looks like only 123 duration, we need to get those lowest possible drains on Mend and Maim and Pacify and Provoke. So how do we achieve that is through multi-efficiency. Multi-efficiency at max rank, I actually can go get this right now from the Zariman because reset was 2 hours ago, so I need to go grab 2 more of these. But at max rank multi-efficiency, plus 36 duration. How much duration do you guys think is absolutely necessary to get the lowest possible drains? Just so happens to be that it's 159. The values in this build make me think that these were all intended by the devs, because somehow through just the use of Rumble Intensify and 2 other ways of getting strength, which I'll show you in a minute, and then multi-efficiency with just the use of Constitution, like it all fits together very, very well to be very cohesive. So what you would do is when you spawn in, you would wait until your multi-efficiency is max ranked, which would take 6 seconds. If it was at 36, mine should be. You get it to max rank, and then, you just cast all your abilities. Terrify, you don't need to worry about duration, because all it does is affect how long the enemies are affected by the armor strip, but it's already at 30 seconds, and everything affected by it should be dead by then. But that is the build. Now, here are where the 2 variations come in here. I'm an Equinox main. Of course, I have Archon shards slotted in here. I have 4, actually. 4 ability strength Archons. These total to 40 ability strength. What I would do, actually, if I could, is get 2 Tau Forged and even a normal, or preferably another Tau Forged red, but I can't. So let's just go with the 4. 4 of these gives me plus 40 ability strength, which brings me up from 99 ability strength with just Umbral Intensify to 139, which is exactly the value needed to get Provokes to give us enough for that 167 for the full strip. So how do you achieve? I also have an Amber in here, but this is also relevant because there's another way to do this. How do I achieve getting this 40% power strength if I don't want to use Archon shards in my Equinox? Here is how. We go to the Materite tree. I recommend Xeneric on so many builds because Xeneric with Energy Pulse and Wellspring is very, very comfy. It just gives you infinite energy practically. Problem with that is that on Equinox, you almost always want Maim to be active. Having Maim active does not allow you to use Energy Pulse or Wellspring because they're channeled abilities. So we come to the Materite tree. On the Materite tree, we have 2 very, very important things. See, I've barely even ranked up my Materite tree. But we have two very, very important things here. Power transfer, which gives us casting speed. Maim has a 2-second long casting time. Using power transfer on Madarai gives us a 1-second casting time. Paired with my other Amber Archon shard that is non-Tau, gives us a 0.75 second casting time, which is really, really fast. But the most important part here, if you're not using red Archon shards for the strength, is sling strength. At max rank, this gives you plus 40% ability strength after a chained sling. So, what you would need to do is, if you're just sitting at that 99 ability strength, all you do is come to your op, just hold down control, spam the ground, you come out of op, then cast your 3, you get that extra ability strength, and then, boom, for however long it is, you have enough to full strip with Terrify. Is this more work? Yes, but this is the achievable way to do it, because this brings you up to 139, and then at 139, you get plus 28 power strength from Provoke. So, it gives you that 167 strength that is necessary for the full strip. I think at max rank, this lasts for 20 seconds. So, you do this once every 20 seconds, or once every time that you want to cast Terrify, if it's not within those 20 seconds. And there you go. You get the full strip. Is it more work? Yes. Does it allow you to be the best nuker in the game, with the best armor stripping ability in the game, in my opinion? Also yes. Which is why I think it's very worth it. I also think it's very worth it to use Archon shards on Equinox, though. This frame loves the min-maxing. Like, loves the min-maxing. So, really min-maxing her is great. But anyways, let me show you what this looks like on some actual enemies. Why don't we? So with some corrupted heavy gunners spawned, you come into the mission, wait for your multi-efficiency to tick up once it hits that 36%. What you'll do if you have Archon shards is really, really simple. You just cast Provoke, and there you go. You have 167, which is enough for the full strip. If you're not doing that, what you do is you wait for multi-efficiency to tick up. While that is happening, come into your operator, hold control, spam sling at the floor, come back in, now cast your 3, and then get in range of some enemies and full strip all of them. You can pop this too, and then they'll all be slowed. Really, 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 really good. So again, remember, the gameplay loop goes, come into the mission, wait for multi-efficiency to stack up, and then once you do, with Archons, you pop your 3, and then you can just cast this. Boom, there you go. You're sustainable for the rest. If your shields go down, just pop Terrify. When you want to nuke, just pop Terrify. And then if you don't have Archons, what you're doing is you're coming in, while your multi-efficiency is stacking up, you're flinging at the floor for the extra strength, casting Provoke for the ability strength snapshot, and then casting this, boom, and then anytime you need to nuke a bunch of enemies, just do this, come back out, Terrify, this. Another really, really great thing about this is that with Madarai, you get cast speed when you come back into your frame, 50% exactly. Makes casts really fast, especially because I have another Amber inside my frame already. Now on to the rest of my build, because yes, this is a full loadout video. My 3 main weapons are the Fenmore, the Epitaph, and the Guandao. Obviously, I've already gone over the focus tree because it is necessary for this build to function without these Archons, and whoever ever cared about a Parazon because it's the Parazon. Regardless, taking a peek at the Epitaph, this is a general use, demolish absolutely everything under level 1000 build. The Fenmore is an Incarnate weapon, which means it has the evolution trait. Mine is built for Devouring Attrition, so I have minus crit chance, magazine capacity. I use Void's Guidance because that extra accuracy and less recoil while aiming is very, very useful. And this is just a raw damage build. Galvanized Chamber is a staple on everything. Shred for the punch through and fire rate, more so the punch through, but the fire rate is always nice. I would replace this with primed shred once I get it. Vial acceleration for even more fire rate. And then you have serration, because there is literally not a better mod to put here. I would recommend using a primed Bane of Grenier, Corpus, or Infested mod here, but I'm too lazy to do those, so I just use serration, or you could put amalgam serration here for that extra quality of life with the sprint speed. Stormbringer Infected Clip give you corrosive. Hellfire gives you heat. In your Exilus, if you're not using primary Deadhead or Void's Guidance, I recommend you then use Stabilizer. Or you could use Terminal Velocity here. I don't want to Former again, but that is what I recommend. And then for our primary Arcane, Deadhead. This just helps with raw damage. Really easy to get these headshot kills. Less weapon recoil is great, turns this thing into a laser pointer, and the headshot multiplier is always useful. So this is the Fenmore build. You'll notice that we have corrosive heat on here. Moving over to our Epitaph. As I said earlier, Augur Seeker and Augur Pact are necessary for this build because we need 3 Augur mods on all of our pieces in this build. So, looking at this, our primer is mainly necessary for those higher health enemies, or if we want to use our melee a little bit, we have Blast, Gas, Magnetic. On our melee, you'll see that I have Condition Overload. You want the maximum amount of status effects for Condition Overload to be good. Fenmore produces heat and corrosive. This produces Blast, Gas, Magnetic. On my Guandao, I have mainly Slash and Viral. So, while you're not using your Fenmore to prime targets because you'll just be killing them, I have access to almost every combo element on here, including some more just IPS status effects. This makes Condition Overload very powerful, and this also helps because if we're going against Corpus or Infested or whatever enemies are weak to Blast, this is just great for priming. Secondary Dexterity, just for the extra combo duration, and then the rest of this is pretty simple, modding for these 3 elements. Galvanized Diffusion, so we have an even higher chance to proc more status in one hit. You can proc up to 4 status effects in a single shot with this. It's actually pretty crazy. Moving on to Guandao. Guandao is really, really simple. It's one of the best melees in the game. Build it for crit. I don't really need much status on here because we're using Condition Overload, and we have another primer, but Viral, as always, is great. Right here is the only thing I would change. If I wanted to Forma again, I would just make this Reach, because we already have our Vicious Frost Viral Scourge for Viral. So you could throw Reach or Primed Reach in here over Northwind. It's not necessary, but the rest of this is just your standard melee build because they are all the same. But yeah, this is the Equinox build that I use on a day-to-day basis. My companion is a Adarza Kavat. Use whatever you want, though. Vulpaphilos are great here because it can't die, specifically the Panzer. Smita Kavats are great. I like the Adarza because I don't have a Smita, one. But this is just a great companion in general. Yes, this is the build. So let's go hop into the Steel Path, and I can show you just how powerful this is, because I wouldn't be explaining it all to you if it wasn't my absolute favorite. Alright, so here we are. Just going to grab the extra strength, because why not? Pop this. Terrify, full strip. Let's get my Fenmore into minigun mode, and then I can come over here, hold slow, full strip, to kill them all. That's Terrify again. Not even like any enemies are shooting me. Terrify again. Oh, wow. I just killed the entire room. Lost my shield gate. Let's get it back. Alright, let me kill all these enemies real quick by just casting Terrify and then nuking them all. Cover the entire tile set. Literally the entire tile set. If I need some casting speed, I can just go into my operator. Boom, I get a very fast cast. Terrify has such ridiculous range. Oh, I lost my shields. Let me just pop Terrify. Max shield gate again. I mean, as you can see, this is so very strong. It is impossible to die. As I'm sure you can see, I'm not struggling in the slightest. Now, I know that this is a full loadout build, so even without full armor stripping, the Fenmore does such ridiculous amounts of damage that with corrosive modded onto it, I'm one-shotting these targets. But you will find yourself armor stripping a lot because it is necessary to reset your shield gate, because that is kind of the only survivability on this build. Almost died there. It's easy to fuck up, but when done and sustained right, so strong. You know, I paused here just because I wanted to say, without getting shot at, because I cannot talk and play very well, is that it takes a little bit more involvement to get the full armor strip when you're not using 4 Archons, because yes, you will need to do this every time you want the full strip. That's not a lot, but it is more than nothing, so do be aware of it. The final thing I'll say is that it is very, very useful to have Magus Elevate on your operator for their Arcanes, because sometimes you will take a little bit of health damage, and it is a little bit hard, it's difficult to get that that health back, so being able to just come in and out of operator for that health back, because you only have 375 health on this build, makes that a little bit more comfortable. But that is the build, everybody. So I hope you enjoyed, and you will maybe take into consideration using this build, because it's really, really damn good. But anyways, thank you guys so much for the support. My Mesa Pillage video has been going off, so has my Equinox Gloom video, and like, it means so much to me. I've always wanted to do YouTube, and finally finding a place on YouTube where I can make content and have people enjoy it means a hell of a lot to me. So, Lotus, seriously. So, I just want to say that I notice and I appreciate all of the support that you guys have given out. I would really, really love if you gave a like and a sub on this video, as it helps so much. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm Kai, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace out.